Hello everyone, this is Serious Trivia, and today we're starting a brand new weekly series on the channel called Multiplayer Spotlight, where I will highlight one Total War 3 Kingdom multiplayer battle from my Discord community. For the first 2 weeks of this series, I have selected two very spicy matchups between Zero, the Season 1 winner of our subscriber game tournament, and King of Yen, the Season 2 winner. And to make this even more interesting, the two of them have agreed to play their matches using the same settings as our semifinals and finals round of Season 2, with both players bringing back the same armies they had used before in their respective seasons. So kicking off this series this week, we have a matchup between Zero in the green versus King of Yen in the red. And if we hop over to look at their armies, we can see that Zero has decided to bring out 3 strong generals in Cao Cao, Guan Yu, and Lu Bu. Meanwhile, King of Yen is bringing back his semi-final army in Liu Chong, Sha Mo Ke, and Zhang Liang. And looking at the units on both sides, we have a good mix of shock cavalry, northern lancer variety on Cao Cao, with a couple range cavalry for poke and perhaps fire damage. Then we have 5 units of the Spear Warriors on Guan Yu for a bit of anti-cavalry and a decent amount of charge. Then finally on Lu Bu, we have 2 Xiliang cavalry to round out the roster. Then for King of Yen, he has those kiting, very powerful melee cavalry, the Peacekeepers of Chen on Liu Chong. Then 2 of his favorite elephants on Sha Mo Ke, and 4 javelin using Wolfpack, and finally those 6 Tyrant Slayers, which are a great deterrent against enemy general assisting from Zhang Liang's army. So with the army set on both sides, let's hop into game and see how this one actually plays out. So hopping into the deployment here, we can see that both sides have taken a very conservative approach. Now the map is shifted to reflect the shift in the original matchup in the semifinal between King of Yen and Yulia. And if we zoom in here, it's a pretty open field for this battle, as both sides has decided to just line up properly. There's more cavalry options and stronger cavalry options on King of Yen. The generals are weaker, but with the assistance of the Tyrant Slayers and proper use of the ranged crossbow on the Chen Peacekeepers, it could mean trouble for these slightly cheaper and lower quality shock cavalry on Zero's side. So let's see how these two play it out here. So we start out with the general charging up. Now there are 2 generals with bows on this side, crossbow on Liu Chong and a gold bow on Sha Mo Ke. And they are avoiding the show of force, which was kited out beautifully just by moving the generals. These 3 are quite fast. We have Nature's Ally from Cao Cao boosting the speed of Red Hare on both of these generals, as Guan Yu and Lu Bu both ride the Red Hare, dodging out a bit of the crossbow damage from the Chen Peacekeepers. And you can see the arrow trying to land hits, but very, very difficult to do when they're kiting back and forth like this. So wasting a bit of the ammo. But usually for cavalry unit, there's a lot of ammo, so it's not going to really exhaust all those damages, but the general ammo is quite low. I do wonder if Liu Chong will get the cooldown back and maybe land a few shots, because they're very close. If you want to kite, you want distance. So far so good, nothing's really landing on the Red Hare. We got a pretty wide spread of the Tyrant Slayers. Those are going to be difficult even for these 3 generals to handle. Looks like Cao Cao got scratched up. He had 25k at the beginning, a little bit injured. Guan Yu is perfectly healthy, Lu Bu is perfectly healthy. Cao Cao is going to be able to reduce their cooldown, and with a well-placed God of War ability, you could potentially one-shot King Sha Mo Ke and severely injure Zhang Liang. Liu Chong, obviously same health as Sha Mo Ke, would also take quite a bit of damage, although both of them have, I think only he has decent armor. Naman have 44%, yeah, by default. Got a little harassment here, not much damage really gonna land. Just trying to get a bit of harassment. Fire arrow's not gonna have that much damage. It's all base, and it's very light. a general matchup here. Definitely favor Zero if this is 3-on-3. But you can see those Tyrant Slayers swarming over. So a quick pullback. There's not enough trees to really light up a fire, especially in the snow. So I don't know if this is actually worth it. The morale hurts, but not enough to rout the Tyrant Slayer, unfortunately. This looks like a show of force attempt. Are they still going to kite it out? Ooh. Oh, they moved. Nice. Good dodge. Very alert. Now, I think King of Yan could just march up the Qin Peacekeepers and answer this quite effectively. Melee Cav has the missile resistance, have the range block chance shield. The fire arrow's not going to do anything to the generals. Now, because it is snowing, the elephants are going to do very poorly in terms of their movement speed, as well as their charge and evasion stats will all go down a bit because of it. It is the one weakness of Nanman units. The weather does not suit them. I think that's also the same for the Wolfpack. They are weakest in snow. Just like Han units are terrible in the Nanman heat. So we got some cavalry units going to try to do some damage to the generals. I don't know if it's going to work. They could just easily run away, and that's why they pulled back. A bit of poke here and there just to fill out both sides. Without shields, these are not going to really have a good time charging into these crossbow or the elephant. Ideally, they want to be stationary to perhaps reflect some of those charge damage back. But Neutron's very happy to poke. We saw what King of Yan did to Yulia in their semifinal matchup, where it's just repeated show of force spam and then kiting back constantly. The aggressive posturing of the cavalry is kind of stopping that, as King of Yan is afraid to take damage from them, which might be a bit gun shy. I think these cavalry units are not going to do that much damage, but we do have the Qin Peacekeeper coming up to shoot down these shot cavalry, which is going to be very weak against those ranged weapons, and they're all pulling back here before they get shot. That's going to be a problem. They can control the field because nothing can really hurt them except for these generals. So they have to kind of sacrifice themselves and commit to that fight, or else they're going to get pushed around by them. Yep, taking damage by show of force. Got 2 units. Trying to land some poke. The fire arrow poke I disagree with. I don't think it's going to just do damage. Mainly base here against someone who, you know, has decent armor stats, and plus you're getting shot by these crossbow unit who has insane armor stats, 80% armor, 80% range block chance, 50% missile resistance. You just can't do much to them and just have to run away. I think the generals have to commit, maybe when the Tyrant Slayer are far. Yep, they're going for it. With a slam ability, save the Dragon's Gaze when they do pursue to get out, and I think it'll be alright. Just wreck one unit at a time. See if you can land a slam. But there's really no punish by the enemy generals. Oh, he did use the movement Dragon Gates early. Ooh, Tyrant Slayers flooding in. They have to run. They do get away, so that's good. But I didn't see any slam ability being used. They are running away. The speed advantage is very apparent. They can get out whenever they want. Ooh, they're going to get a couple hits on Chamoko, who over-pursued here without cavalry support, and the other cavalry's piling in. He's got to run. Maybe we get a fight right here. Tyrant Slayer coming to rescue him. He's taking chunks because he's just trying to run away, and they're landing charge hits on him. But with the Tyrant Slayers here, Cao Cao is giving the boost of evasion. It's not going to be very useful against that initial charge, but overall it's okay. We got the slam going down. Got to be careful where Guan Yu is, because that God of War ability... There's no dismounting though, because there's too many Tyrant Slayers. If they get trapped here, it's pretty much over. So the quality of the Tyrant Slayer are going to win out here. Continuous poke, but not much. Shamoke is weakened. 10k off him. 5k off Lu Bu. 2 more k off Cao Cao. Guan Yu is still very healthy, only lost 3k. Pursuing the Chen Peacekeeper is a good idea. Using the Chen Peacekeeper as shock cavalry here is a bad idea, actually. I think they over-pursued. I think clearly this feels like one hotkey group, or maybe 2. Ooh, got some show of force hits. Did not land. Guan Yu is kind of lost. They got to get away whenever the enemy Tyrant Slayer come. They have the speeds. They could kite them. No commitment. Oh, they're moving. Maybe they'll fight here. Yep, you got the hill. I think clustering all 6 Tyrant Slayer might be overkill. I think they're going to be very prone to get locked down by Lu Bu's ability if this stays this situation. Because I think they can sack the cavalry now. Yeah, they're sacking it. Because as long as you can trap them in this little box and Lu Bu get a slam, it's all good. We got the active engage. Let's see what we have here. Lu Bu get the gaze, which reduces their stats in addition to immobilizing them. Got a good slam. Cao Cao did not use the ability. I don't know if he has it. Oh, they used it. Dismount on Lu Bu. They charged out. Okay. So King of Yet committed the dismount. Let's see if they get back. Because right now they're just not going to catch up. And they're in a kind of awkward situation. The quality of the cavalry is going to win out. But I'm not sure about the general. So the infantry is trying to get here, which is good. But the elephant might catch them halfway. You can see the slow speed in the snow. Cavalry regrouping, the quality difference. Where did the general go? Wow, they kited all the way around. I was like, where did they go? Okay, they're worried about the elephant. They know their spear can win, but the elephant can change that. Getting chased. Ooh, headed straight for this charge. Very brave. I'm not sure about that. Lu Bu did freeze them. And see, the slam is poorly executed. Probably better to just kite out. Okay, we've got the rear charge of the wolf pack, which is going to do some damage, as you can see. Especially coming from behind. Dismount. Okay, so it's a dismount versus dismount fight. Guan Yu got the first swing here. Second swing. They got the evasion up. That's going to make a huge difference. Alright, they just killed Shamoke off the bat. Who they're targeting next? Looks like Liu Chong is getting slammed here. I'm wondering if Guan Yu will ever use God of War here. Ooh, Liu Chong got killed as well. Zhang Liang's the last one left. Elephant comes in. Not sure if it's going to matter. We still have the fight here. The infantry is getting crushed a little bit on top. But it looks like Zhang Liang's going to get killed, you know, against these 3 generals. 1v3, he's trying to run away. Very far from his horses because they dismounted way earlier. Lu Bu was injured. Let's see if he can freeze the elephants and then allow his spear units to get here afterwards. He's gonna go down here. Zhang Liang's gone. We do have the freeze on the elephants, so they can't move. I think Zero has this. Remaining units are not going to be that tough. Elephants have low morale, so once the army loss start kicking in, they should rout pretty easily. And they're not good against killing generals, so that's definitely not going to do much. Yeah, it feels like this is just cleanup time. I think overall, King of Yen's dismount of the 3 generals were probably too early and also not what his generals are designed for. He had great coverage by the Tyrant Slayer, but I think they overcommitted and thought they could kill the generals, which led him to dismount. He never remounted, so Zero was able to pick his fight after that. Pretty good. Let's see the numbers here. So overall, the units didn't do too much. There was a lot of shielding for the generals. When the Tyrant Slayer came, there was a commit by all the cavalry to kind of shore them up together, and they got a couple slam in, but not super effective. The first one was pretty good, but the later ones really didn't kick in. You can see the kill count's not very high because it's a very cavalry heavy army. The initial charge of the wolf pack against the spear warrior, I think it's pretty damaging. Most of these, I believe these two probably got charged by the two elephants, which is why they're so badly injured. The other fight, they're pretty similar units. I think they have more base damage, they have more armor piercing damage, but both are heavy charge reliant units. They just basically went to go help out against the cavalry. I think the way that Zero pressured King of Yen early on with the cavalry to make sure that he's not just kiting back, to make sure to pressure Liu Chong every time he went up to do a show of force until he eventually got them to commit to a fight. Because this composition here, as we saw it in the semifinal round, was really good at kiting back, and keep poking with show of force until the disadvantage of the generals themselves would even out, depending on the matchup. Of course, the opponent he was going up against, Yulia, for that match, had a strategist in Guo Jia, so it was a very different scenario where you don't have the general disadvantage as you would have here. The double red hair generals plus the allies nature, on Cao Cao with the speed boost, really give them a really good advantage. Shadowrunner on Cao Cao is also a super fast horse, so very hard to catch them with the Tyrant Slayers or the other generals, so they're able to kind of go up, pressure the enemy a little bit, and then get out safely most of the time, taking very minimum damage. And that pretty much ended up helping out Zero once he found that fight. Didn't commit his generals right off the bat because so many Tyrant Slayer were there, kited out. And then once these generals didn't remount, he went, dismounted, found his fight away from the Tyrant Slayers, picked on the guy who was already injured in Shamwoke, wiped him out. He was 10k down, so very easy to kill, and then focused on the next lowest health character, also the one who could swing the whole match with his infinite show of force, in Liu Chong. And once they were dead, Zhang Liang's pretty useless at that point. Even with 40k health, he's not going to turn things around. 3-on-1, gets routed. Units eventually lose out because the general swings the match, with Lu Bu still having his ability to gaze and freeze the elephants to stop them from continuously to punish the infantry, and that pretty much ended the match. So great matchup here between Zero and King of Yen, and we'll be coming back next week to showcase their replay of the finals, where Zero will bring his finals garrison units from his Season 1 defense, which got the tie against King of Yen in Season 1, because these two were the finals matchup in Season 1 as well, where Zero won out after having a tie in the siege battles. And this time he will bring that defensive army against King of Yen with his poison army that he used very well against Wobi Deed in this season's final. And we'll get to see how that matchup went. And for those of you who are interested in submitting your replays for this multiplayer spotlight, feel free to join our Discord using the link in the description below. And you can submit replay files in the proper channel and also find multiplayer matchups in the channel as well. So until next time, bye.